Political races don't get much tighter than we saw in the state's 4th Congressional District last week. After days of waiting for the results, we learned Newton City Councilor Jake Auchincloss won with just 22% of the vote, just ahead of former Brookline selectwoman Jesse Mermell, who got 21%. And that's sparking renewed debate about the merits of something called ranked choice voting, which just happens to be on the ballot statewide this fall. Adam Reilly has more.
When Jesse Mermell conceded, she hinted that if the election had worked differently, she might be the one celebrating.
If the ranked choice voting campaign needs a new face, give me a call, guys.
So what is ranked choice voting, and why did Mermell give it a plug?
The way to think about it is that it's an instant runoff.
Evan Falchuk ran for governor as an independent in 2014. Now he is leading the state's ranked choice push.
When people have runoff elections, you hold an election one day, and then you see how the votes come out, and then you eliminate the candidates that didn't meet whatever the threshold is, and you hold another election. With ranked choice voting, you do that instantaneously.
Take that crowded field in the Massachusetts 4th. With ranked choice, voters would rate the candidates, first choice, second choice, and so on. The ballots would be counted, and if one candidate got a majority of first choice votes, they'd win. If not, the candidate with the fewest first choice votes would be out. And on ballots that had them at number one, the second choice would become the new first choice. Then the process would repeat until one candidate cracked 50%.
The winners of every election would be earning a majority of the vote.
Ranked choice is already a reality in Maine, partly as a reaction to Paul LePage becoming governor in 2010 with just 38% of the vote. 8 years later, Republican Congressman Bruce Poliquin lost his seat in a ranked choice contest after winning the most number one votes, but not an outright majority.
Paul LePage, in writing and signing the certification papers, he was still governor at the time, wrote "stolen election" on it.
Still, University of Maine political scientist Amy Fried says there is nothing inherently partisan about ranked choice. In Massachusetts, though, the opposition seems to be coming from the right.
From a pragmatic point of view, I think it's a very bad system.
Anthony Amore was the Republican candidate for Secretary of State in 2018. Now he's part of the campaign against ranked choice voting, which he claims asks too much of voters.
Political scientists know, and the average person can intuit, that people don't go into the voter booth with a heck of a lot of information.
Case in point, Amore says, the Massachusetts 4th.
There were razor-thin separations between the candidates, not just in terms of the vote, but in terms of ideology. I follow politics very closely, as you know. I couldn't tell you what the difference between Jake and Jesse was. I really couldn't.
But Falchuk insists voters can handle complexity, and he says by pushing candidates to reach beyond their base, ranked choice would make politics better for everyone.
I remember as a candidate, if I was going to visit someone's house when we were canvassing and I saw a sign for one of the other candidates in front of their house, you don't go to that house because they've already decided. But in a ranked choice environment, you go talk to that voter.
And maybe earn some measured support that yields a victory when the votes are counted.
Adam Reilly joins me now. Adam, can we start with the most important question?
Absolutely.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah,
Who's the most illustrious person you know who won a seat under a ranked choice voting system?
Well, the most illustrious, like a public official of note?
Yes.
Someone who, I'm digging back in my memory. I seem to recall that in a previous life, you may have benefited from this system when you were running in Cambridge.
Ding, 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 ding. Thank you very much. You win all the points. Adam, my analysis from afar is the 4th CD is the perfect case leading up to a ballot campaign. And by the way, Auchincloss won fair and square. Let me be clear. Yep. But it seems to me that the 77 or 78% who didn't vote for him mostly voted for more progressive candidates. And the 22% who voted for him voted for a moderate, which should get people thinking, no?
That's my sense as well. I mean, we should note he branded himself as a pragmatic progressive.
Right.
You're right. People were voting for the most part to his left. I tried to get Evan Falchuk to say, okay, so is it fair to say that if this race had been run under ranked choice voting, we would have seen Mermell or possibly Becky Grossman won? He wasn't ready to go there. He said, well, people might have run differently. It would have been a different campaign. But I think you're right. It is a perfect test case. And it comes right on the heels of Lori Trahan winning her seat by with a very, very small portion of the vote, again, in an incredibly tight contested field. So it's not a bad setup for the proponents going into the fall. However, I should also point out the polling shows that the public is, at least at this point, pretty split on this issue.
Only have 5 seconds. Any big shots other than Falchuk supporting this thing?
There's a whole bunch. Former Governor Patrick, former Governor Weld, and Bill Galvin, the Secretary of State, is a fairly recent convert as of a couple of years ago.
Great. Adam, good report. Thanks so much for your time. Good to see you. Thanks, Jim.